Take a moment and imagine you are the patriarch or matriarch in one of the world's most powerful families heading to work each day to helm over $1 trillion in assets. Would you consider this a dream life where you and your brood get to shape global markets, influence policy and command unparalleled influence across industries and continents? Indeed, the weight of such immense power would be absolutely staggering. Each decision made by you and your family rip through economies, alters the lives of millions and sends waves of competitive pressure cascading through the world's elite circles. Yet for the Finks family, this is not just a dream, it is their daily reality, and as the driving force behind one of the largest and most influential financial empires on the planet, the Finks wield an unparalleled level of influence and responsibility. Thus in today's episode we'll share the secrets of their saga, unveiling they amassed their extraordinary fortune, the mechanisms of their global impact and the intricate dynamics that keep their empire at the forefront of the world stage. As we describe the 10 trillion family that runs the world, the Finks, Larry Finn is the undisputed titan of finance and is co-founder, chairman and CEO of BlackRock. He's not just a player, he's the kingpin of the financial world. Forbes estimates his net worth at a cool $1.2 billion for 2024, but that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to his real influence. BlackRock, the behemoth asset manager he helms, is a colossal force controlling a jaw-dropping 65 trillion, yes that's trillion with a T, in assets, and this mind-boggling figure is bolstered by an influx of cash into ETFs and fixed income products, not to mention savvy acquisitions by global infrastructure partners and PIN, which have expanded BlackRock's dominance in private markets and alternative assets. Furthermore, Finn's wealth is flaunted through his extravagant lifestyle, and his real estate portfolio alone is valued at a staggering $240 million. For example, the crown jewel of his properties is Finch Farm, his sprawling 20,000-foot estate in North Salem, New York. Indeed, it's not just a house, it's a palace with an indoor pool, tennis court, home theater, golf course and even a helipad. In his Manhattan penthouse, snapped up for $6 million back in 2005, now commands over $25 million offering prime proximity to BlackRock's headquarters. Then there's his Aspen retreat, a $10 million hideaway where the wealthy gather. But Finn's opulence doesn't stop with real estate. His collection of private jets, yachts and cars is the stuff of legend. He boasts 2 private jets, including a Gulfstream G650 valued at a staggering $98 million, ensuring he can jet around the globe in unparalleled style and secrecy. And his car collection is equally impressive, featuring luxury beasts like a Rolls-Royce Phantom, Ferrari LaFerrari, Bugatti Cayenne, Lamborghini Aventador and Porsche 918 Spider. Shockingly, these automotive marvels range from $450,000 to a whopping $3 million each, luxuriously representing his flair for both extravagance and performance. Now on the personal front, Finn's family life is equally noteworthy. He's been happily married to his high school sweetheart Lori Wider since 1974, and the couple has 3 children, Joshua, Rachel and Hannah. Thus Larry Fink is not merely a financial mogul, he is a symbol of opulence and influence, reflecting his extraordinary success in the cutthroat world of global finance. However, dominating this same rough and tumble financial world also means that Larry, and thus the Finks family, are among the most controversial public figures in the 21st century. Many people see them as diabolical financial planners intent on taking over the world, while others see them as deftly helming the livelihoods of literally billions of people in order to get a fair assessment for yourself. Let's have you flip over to the next chapter to gain better insight into how it all started for Finn and his family. Now, Larry Finn was born on the 2nd of November, 1952 in the unassuming district of Van Nuys, California, in a Jewish household where his parents, Lila and Frederick Finn, instilled the virtues of diligence and an unrelenting pursuit of knowledge, specifically Van Nuys neighborhood within the sprawl of Los Angeles' San Fernando Valley bore a history as layered and intricate as the landscape it claimed. This patch of earth owed much to the visionaries who first saw its potential, men like Isaac Lanesham and Isaac Newton van En, pioneers of Dutch Jewish descent, who in the twilight of the Civil War began shaping the future of this land. Among these, Van Nuys himself would carve a more enduring legacy. You see, Isaac Newton Van Nuys arrived in California in 1865, his ambitions as broad as the 60,000 acres of San Fernando Valley he would soon command. And though the land initially served the grazing of sheep, Van En was not one to ignore the subtle whisper of opportunity and the soil beneath his feet promised more. By 1876 he had orchestrated the first shipment of grain from San Pedro, marking a momentous stride in the valley's agricultural domain. Thus his reach extended far beyond the fields. In 1880 Van Nuys founded the Los Angeles Farming and Milling Company, a venture that would transform raw grain into a commodity of considerable value before it ever reached market. And his interests weren't confined to agriculture alone. The tendrils of his influence wound their way into banking as he assumed the role of vice president at the Farmers and Merchants Bank and a director's seat at the Union Bank of Savings. Now the town of Van Nuys was formerly christened in 1911, a nod to the man whose endeavor endeavors had shaped so much of its existence, the Los Angeles Aqueduct completed in 1913 delivered the lifeblood of water, igniting a period of growth that saw the town absorbed into the city's ever-expanding grid by 1915, with the Pacific Electric Railway carving through its heartland, and soon thrummed with a new energy as land sales and commerce surged as the 20th century dawned. A Jewish community began to establish its presence in the San Fernando Valley, and the arrival of the first Jewish family in 1907 marked the beginning of a steady influx, one that gained momentum after the dust of World War II had settled. Indeed, returning veterans, many of them Jewish, were drawn to the valley's promise, its favorable climate and abundant land. By 1946, roughly 2,000 Jewish families had laid down roots in the valley, a place once dominated by farmland, now rapidly transforming into suburban sprawl. Therefore, in this era, Jewish institutions began to rise, marking their place in the valley's evolving identity. Temple Beth Hillel, founded in 1946, stood as one of the first Reformed congregations in the region, and other synagogues and community centers soon followed, becoming vital threads in the fabric of Jewish life. Thus, in the midst of this burgeoning community, young Larry Finn and his siblings were expected to strive for excellence. Frederick Finn, who owned a shoe store, instilled in his son a deep respect for hard work, and Lila, an English professor at California State University, Northridge, imparted a love of learning and a relentless curiosity, while his brother Roland ventured into entrepreneurship and community service. Larry's early years were a crucible of business and academia, and though he may not have always matched his brother's academic prowess, he learned the art of perseverance within the family business. This foundation propelled him to UCLA, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science in 1974, before pursuing further education at the Anderson School of Management, where he subsequently secured an MBA with a focus on real estate in 1976. And it was during these formative years that thinking crossed paths with Lori Wader, his high school sweetheart. Their bond, forged in the fires of youth, became a constant in his life, marrying in 1970. For the same year, he graduated college and beginning a union that would endure as he charted his ascent in the world of finance. Now Larry Fink stepped into the financial arena in 1976, joining First Boston, a New York investment bank, at a time when the world was shifting beneath the feet of industry giants. The mid-1970s were a period of upheaval, with the tremors of the 1973 oil crisis still rippling through economies worldwide. Therefore, in this volatile environment, the financial industry was on the cusp of transformation, seeking fresh blood to forge new paths in an uncertain landscape. It's there, in a banking world hungry for innovation, that we meet Fink, armed with an MBA in real estate from UCLA, who was precisely the kind of sharp mind that First Boston sought, a mind capable of dissecting market complexities and crafting strategies in uncharted waters. Soon, Fink carved a niche by championing the development of mortgage-backed securities, a then revolutionary financial instrument. These securities, bundles of home loans sold to investors, allowed banks to shed the heavy burden of mortgage risk, creating a flow of liquidity that would fuel further lending. Fink's vision was clear: transform the static into the fluid, the illiquid into the tradable. However, it was a vision that would later prove to be a double-edged sword, as mortgage-backed securities became infamous in the wake of the 2008 financial collapse, exposing the underbelly of modern finance to a world reeling from the consequences of opaque risks. Yet, at the time, Fink's innovation was hailed as a masterstroke, a cornerstone of the evolving financial architecture. As Fink's reputation grew, so did his responsibilities. He rose to the position of managing director, becoming co-head of the taxable fixed income division, a division dealing with bonds and debt instruments, the heartbeat of First Boston's financial engine, pumping capital through the arteries of government, corporate, and mortgage securities. Soon, Fink's influence spread further as he established the Financial Futures and Options Department, a hub for complex contracts tethered to the fluctuating value of underlying assets. His leadership extended to the mortgage and real estate products group, consolidating his role as a central figure in the bank's burgeoning empire. But no empire is without its fall. In 1986, Fink's career at First Boston was marred by a staggering $100 million loss, a miscalculation that stemmed from a flawed bet on interest rates. Undoubtedly, this wasn't just a monetary loss. It was a seismic jolt that shook Fink to his core and marked the end of his time at First Boston. But it also signaled the start of a career that would navigate the murky waters of risk and reward, where the lines between success and disaster would blur, and where Fink would be both revered and questioned for the paths he chose to take. Consequently, in 1988, Larry Fink co-founded BlackRock, initially a subsidiary of the Blackstone Group. The Blackstone Group itself was a relatively new player, founded just 3 years earlier by Stephen Schwartzman and Peter G. Peterson. Schwartzman, an ambitious Yale and Harvard alumnus, was already carving out his domain in the financial world, while Peterson, a former U.S. Secretary of Commerce, brought political acumen and gravitas to the partnership. Their vision for the Blackstone Group was clear: a private equity firm that could navigate the turbulent waters of corporate buyouts, leveraging capital to reshape companies and reap significant profits. Fink, joining forces with Schwartzman, brought to the table his hard-earned expertise in managing mortgage-backed securities and an acute awareness of the risks inherent in financial markets. This partnership was thus more than a meeting of minds, it was the fusion of complementary strengths, with Fink's meticulous approach to risk aligning perfectly with Schwartzman's ambitious strategies. Together, they envisioned BlackRock not just as an investment manager but as a pioneer in risk management, a firm that would wield technology as a shield against the chaos of the markets. The company, initially called Blackstone Financial Management, was conceived as a guardian of capital, dedicated to safeguarding investors from the perils of the financial world. The creation of Aladdin, a technological marvel in risk assessment, became BlackRock's crown jewel, a system that allowed the firm to navigate the treacherous currents of global finance with an accuracy previously unheard of. Backed by a $5 million loan from the Blackstone Group in exchange for a 50% stake, BlackRock began its rise. Yet, as the firm matured, it sought to distinguish itself, breaking away from its parent's shadow. This led to the rebranding as BlackRock, a name that would soon resonate through the halls of global finance. Under Fink's leadership, BlackRock quickly grew, its growth driven by an unwavering commitment to client-centric solutions and a relentless pursuit of innovation in risk management. This foundation, laid by Fink and his team, would prove to be the bedrock on which BlackRock built its empire, evolving into the world's largest asset management firm. In 1994, a fissure split the once unified forces of BlackRock and Blackstone, with Larry Fink entrenched at the helm of BlackRock's newly independent ship. By 1998, Fink had solidified his command, assuming the title of chairman. As BlackRock navigated its course through the perilous seas of finance, his grip tightened, his portfolio expanded, and he found himself steering not just as chairman of the board, but also as the head of executive and leadership committees, and co-chair of the Global Client Committee. Then, when BlackRock unveiled itself to the public in 1999, the event was more than a mere financial transaction, it was a declaration, a signal that the firm was evolving into something formidable. The year 2003 cast a harsh light on Fink's growing dominion. He orchestrated the fall of Richard Grasso, the then CEO of the New York Stock Exchange, who had come under scrutiny for his excessive $190 million compensation package. Fink's influence was unmistakable, a clear message that his sway over the financial world was deepening, his reach extending into the highest echelons of power. By 2006, BlackRock was on the brink of transformation. Under Fink's watchful eye, the firm embarked on a monumental merger with Merrill Lynch Investment Managers, a deal worth roughly $9.7 billion. This merger nearly doubled BlackRock's assets, bringing them to the cusp of $1 trillion. Indeed, it was a fusion of strengths: BlackRock's prowess in fixed income paired with Merrill's equity and retail expertise, creating a behemoth in the global financial landscape. That same year, BlackRock made a bold and audacious move, acquiring Stuyvesant Town Peter Cooper Village, a sprawling residential complex in Manhattan. This $5.4 billion transaction was the largest of its kind in U.S. history at the time, involving 110 buildings and over 11,000 apartments. Though hailed as a prime investment, the tides quickly turned against them. The ensuing financial crisis, coupled with unforeseen complications, led to a default that exacted a heavy toll on BlackRock's clients. The fallout was severe, with the California pension and retirement system suffering a staggering $500 million loss. The financial tempest of 2008 further tested BlackRock's resilience. It was here that the U.S. government, desperate for stability, turned to Fink, and his well-established connections with senior officials proved invaluable. BlackRock was entrusted to manage toxic assets, including $30 billion from the wreckage of Bear Stearns, while BlackRock's role in stabilizing the financial system was lauded. The lack of competitive bidding for these lucrative contracts raised questions. Whispers of conflict of interest circulated, with some pointing to Fink's ties to figures like Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner as the reason for BlackRock's selection. Controversy or not, BlackRock emerged from the crisis with its reputation bolstered, and the firm's deft handling of complex assets amid chaos earned it the moniker Mr. Fix it on Wall Street. This period marked the beginning of BlackRock's rise to the pinnacle of global asset management, a throne it still occupies today. But December 2009 brought another seismic shift: BlackRock's acquisition of Barclays. Global investors catapulted the firm into the position of the world's largest money manager. Fink, though not a name often recognized by the public, had his financial acumen widely acknowledged, and in 2010, BlackRock rewarded him handsomely with $23.6 million. By 2021, his compensation had escalated to $36 million. Yet, BlackRock's ascent has not been without shadows. Its substantial investments in defense contractors, such as Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Raytheon, have stirred unrest. BlackRock's sizable holdings 4% in Lockheed Martin, 2% in Boeing, and 6% in Raytheon granted considerable influence over these companies' governance. The concentration of such power raises unsettling concerns about conflicts of interest. The ethical quagmire deepens when considering the profits drawn from companies producing weapons deployed in conflicts across the globe. Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, in particular, have faced allegations of complicity in war crimes, such as the bombing of a school bus in Yemen, which claimed the lives of dozens of children. Despite these atrocities, BlackRock has continued to invest heavily in these defense giants, drawing sharp criticism for seemingly prioritizing profit over human rights. But BlackRock's influence extends far beyond passive investments. It also plays a strategic role in shaping the trajectory of these corporations. Given the intertwined relationship between the military-industrial complex and media conglomerates, many of which are also under BlackRock's substantial ownership, the potential for narrative manipulation looms large. The convergence of media and defense contracting under BlackRock's influence threatens to distort public perceptions of war and defense spending, aligning them with corporate interests rather than objective reality. Furthermore, in 2017, Larry Fink penned an open letter to CEOs, asserting that BlackRock would prioritize sustainability and long-term investments over short-term profits. However, this proclamation has been met with skepticism, as BlackRock continues to channel billions into fossil fuel companies, contradicting its purported commitment to sustainability. Think Inc. and his family, are they doing a good job handling one of the biggest responsibilities on Earth with trillions of people's livelihoods in their hands, or are they greedily manipulating our hard-earned dollars? We can't wait to hear from you, and thanks again for joining us for another episode of The Lux Life, and cheers until next time.